Welcome to Capital OTB's Daily Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com. If you're not already a member of Capital OTB Bet, check out the website for more information, details on how to sign up. You can find it all at CapitalOTB.com. I'm Seth Merrow. This is a special edition of the Daily Report for Monday, March 29th. We're going to have a little Mahoning Valley concentration today. There's plenty of great stakes action over the weekend to review. We'll do that over the next couple of days, and then we'll get into previewing next weekend as the week goes along. But today I want to concentrate a little bit on Mahoning Valley on Monday afternoon. Why? It's a mandatory pay in their Jackpot 6, which has over $300,000 in the kitty. So I thought we would reach out to Matt Hook, the announcer and handicapper at Mahoning Valley, and get some of his thoughts on the card and the Jackpot 6 sequence. Talked to him actually on Sunday evening, so keep that in mind. We taped this last night, so keep that in mind because it was pre-scratches, obviously. So as you're going down, and you should get your PPs, get your Mahoning Valley PPs ready. If you have to pause the podcast, do that. Get the PPs and a pen ready. Do remember that this is pre-scratches, so you'll have to check the scratches and changes going into Monday afternoon and make sure the horses that we talk about are in and running, and then you'll be good to go. But once again, reach out to Matt Hook, the announcer and handicapper at Mahoning Valley, got his thoughts on the Jackpot sequence, which has over $300,000 in the pool for a mandatory pay on Monday afternoon. Here's Matt with his thoughts. Happy to be joined now by Matt Hook. He is the announcer and handicapper out at Mahoning Valley. You can find his selections on the Mahoning Valley track website, also via his Twitter feed at MattHook6. Matt, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Seth. How you doing?
Very good. Happy to have you on board on what will be the big day out at Mahoning. I would imagine it's exciting at Mahoning and probably up in the booth as well, as with a $300 carryover and a mandatory in your Jackpot 6 on a Monday afternoon. All eyes will be on Mahoning.
Yeah, when you get $350,000 at Mahoning Valley, it's really unprecedented. You know, I work Cleveland at Thistledown in the summer and Mahoning in the winters, and we have the same wager, and it's just this is the first time something like this has ever got to this level. It's gotten to 100, 150, and then someone hits it. Never to the point where we've had to make it mandatory just because it's, it's just too high at this point. So it'll be interesting to see how much play it gets. I'm expecting it to double. It might even go bigger. So yeah, good times, exciting times, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think a lot of bettors are looking forward. Monday's usually a quiet day, but this is going to juice things up very nicely. I took a look at the weather before we went on, and we're pre-taping, but it looks like Monday afternoon's weather is going to be very nice out in Ohio. And just before we talk specifically the sequence, for folks who don't normally maybe look at Mahoning, give us some trainers or jockeys we might want to concentrate on during the afternoon.
Well, as a player myself, I like to find those jockeys and trainers that offer, what I consider value, where they're as talented as maybe their leading counterparts, just don't get the kind of quality mounts they get, and they're not bet at the windows. I mean, I've gone on and on about how good Sonny Leon is. He's our leading rider at Mahoning Valley, but, he's going to get bet. I mean, it's just going to happen just because of his success. So you're really not going to get value with him. You're going to get a good opportunity, no question. But I like guys like, like David Haldar. He's about a 12% rider, I believe, somewhere around there. He tries hard and everything, gets a lot of run out of horses. Fernando Salazar Becerra the same way. Those two guys aren't necessarily bet for the names at the window, but they will offer a quality ride where you can maybe get some value. Trainers, we'll talk about some in this pick 6 sequence, but guys like Tony Atala, he doesn't have many horses, just a few horses, but he'll win at 20%, and he's not going to be bet at the windows just because he doesn't have the volume that some of the other guys do, like the leading trainers like Richie Zielinski or Elliott Sullivan or, Eric Reed coming from Turfway Park. Those guys are always going to get bet. And there's nothing wrong with that. They have good horses. They're good trainers. It's just, I look for a little bit of an edge as far as price is concerned sometimes when I'm talking about connections.
Sure. All right, let's jump into the sequence. Kicks off on Monday afternoon about 1:40 Eastern Time. Mahoning Valley's third race, maiden 10 claimers going 5.5. What do you think in the third?
Well, third's kind of an interesting race. It's kind of it's representative of the entire sequence. It's a race where you take a horse like the one Dream to Win, who's coming from Turfway via Tampa. quality opponents there, and has been doing okay. They're going a little faster than they go at Mahoney. But Mahoney's typically a little slower than those kind of racetracks. So I start with that. I start with the One Dream to Win, and I kind of look from there. Horse I'm kind of taking a look at is the 4 Sapphire Moonlight. Pizzurro and Polaris, they do well together. Christian Polaris is a fine rider, one of the best in business. He has titles at Mahoning Valley. I think he won a title a few years ago. He won back-to-back titles, so he's another guy they don't necessarily overbet. I watched this Sapphire Moonlight first time out. This filly showed quite a bit of speed, and then when she crossed the wire in fourth, she was really tired, really short-strided. So I don't think she was ready, and they ended up jumping her up, showed speed again at special weight, faded, and now she's making third start, adding Lasix. So I like the One Dream to Win, but I'm gonna use that 4 Sapphire Moonlight for sure to try to get a price in here. And I would consider the 2 Crimson Ride. She's the most known quantity in the race because she's had success at Mahoning Valley. She's been right there at this level. But this level isn't that difficult. It's a 10,000 three-year-old filly level. I mean, it might as well be 5,003 and up. Maiden fillies and mares might be tougher than this kind of race here. So I'm definitely on the 1, but I'm looking at the 4 as well.
Like it. All right, let's turn the page. Race number 4, Maiden Specials, going a mile. Your thought in race number 4?
This is the most interesting race for me of the sequence, because the most interesting horse in the race is the 5 Man Down. I called him at Mahoning Valley in his debut, and he was so far behind. And when they got to the top of the stretch, I didn't even pay him no attention. So I called the finish, first, second, third, and fourth. And I see this blur go by me, and I'm like, who is that? So that can't be Man Down. He was too far back. And sure enough, it was Man Down. I look up again, and he galloped out in front of the entire field. So then I went home that night. I wanted to see how it charted because, again, I'm looking for value. I'm looking for an innocuous chart. And it was kind of an innocuous. It doesn't look like that good a race, the debut. It really doesn't look that strong. So I was really excited to bet him back. He ends up at Turfway Park in a 15,000 maiden. I handicapped the race. I don't like anybody else in there. He's 20 to 1 in the morning line. And I go for big. I mean, I empty out on him. I'm excited, really confident. They ended up canceling the race at that night. In fact, the horse in the morning line was favored was a horse by the name of Parrot Head, who had finished second at Mahoning Valley in his debut. And I had watched Parrot Head, and Man Down just blew him away after the wire. Granted, it was after the wire, but it was still an indication of the talent that Man Down has. So then, 10 days later, the race comes back. Same race level, 15,000 maidens at Turfway Park, but it was a much different field. It was much more difficult. I still bet, but I didn't bet the way I did the previous time when the races were canceled. And the exact opposite. I mean, the same thing happened during the race. He was so far back, but the exact opposite thing happened on the chart. Now, this race kind of actually looks pretty good on the chart. It wasn't that good. I mean, McKee had to whip and drive him around that first turn. He just was losing contact, and all of a sudden he kicked it in. And he made up some ground, but it wasn't as impressive as maybe the chart would indicate. So they're adding blinkers today, or tomorrow, or Monday, and they have 2 works since that last race. So you're expecting me those blinkers? Maybe he'll be able to break with the field. I mean, and stay with that field the first half mile. There's a lot of talent in this Man Down. The problem is he just is so lazy. I think he's so lazy early. Lazy is the word I would use to describe him in the early stages of the race. I don't know. I got to use him just because he already owes me some money, right? So, I mean, I'm going to use him. And I could go with the $2,000 deal, but he's turf bred. He's never even been on the turf. I can't go. I mean, first time starters going 2 turns. That's a thing I try to avoid. I mean, I don't like first-time starters going 2 turns unless you're at Santa Anita, Belmont, Saratoga, Churchill, Gulfstream, where they work the horses 24 times before they race. In the Midwest, you're lucky to get 4 works before a race. Culp, I mean, he's stretching out for the first time. The 1 horse, that's 2 turns. Nobody in here really gets me excited. I can find fault with everybody, including the horse I like, the 5 Man Down. He's not going to be 20 to 1. In fact, he'll probably go off favorite. I imagine he will surpass the morning line favorite, the 7, Tiz Valentino Days, in the wagering. And my 20 to 1 dreams will probably be crushed on Monday tomorrow. So
yeah, I like it though. All right, let's turn to race 5. And I took a look at this sequence too. I thought this was one of the most evenly matched races in the sequence, where you could go in a bunch of different directions. What did you see in the 5th?
Oh, I agree with you 100%. And I like a couple horses in here. Again, this is 15,000. It's not that strong at 15,000 though. I'm not exactly enamored with all these horses. I mean, if you look at the two Turista 7-2, the 25 was second. That's not exactly the most impressive race ever either. So a horse like the horse I really like in the race, I like is the 9.
Yeah.
Coming out of the Nichols at Turfway. Those aren't exactly the easiest race, but this horse was up and on 35, up and on 36. That's a significant advantage compared to some of his rivals today. And Doug Collins does extremely well here. He's a great Ohio trainer. And for them to put him in for 15, they could put him in for 5, right? I mean, they had license to put him in for 5. Or her for 5, I should say. But they elect to go for 15, so they must like what they're seeing from her. And she might just be faster than everybody else in here. So I do like her. I kind of like the long shot in here, too. I was taking a look at... Let me find the horse here. I'm turning through my form here. So, another horse is the 3, Magic Credit, who has been who competed at the allowance level last time, finished 3rd. Was beaten for 6,500 the time before. But, again, Mayan Queen, who beat her 2 starts ago, she ended up winning 3 in a row. Banker's Beast and them, those are pretty decent horses when she was second, 3 back. And that 2-life allowance last time out, that was one of the tougher 2-life allowances we've had. Well spent, very nice filly. Vintage ready, very nice filly. And she finished 3rd in that race. So, she's 15-1. And I'll give her a lot of shot in this 15,000. But I do like the outside horse. I do like the 9 Lucky Quarters would be my top pick in there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. What a long shot I liked was J-Lo Can Dance, the one horse dropping out of allowance company last time.
Yeah. I mean, I could see her doing well. That barn is inconsistent at times, and that can be a good thing when you're looking for value and things of that nature, because they'll run a bad race and all of a sudden they'll run a good race, and sometimes if you just stick with it, you'll find value in that sort of process.
All right, let's move on to race 6 at Mahoning. $8,000 claimers going a mile and 70. Your thoughts there?
Well, I'm a big Gratz Road fan. I liked her when she won. Pages are stuck together here. We're going to find her. I think she's outside.
Yeah.
And last time out, I thought she'd win again, and she ended up finishing 3rd. She's going to be right there. And again, you got Elliott Sullivan, who's training at a high clip with leading rider Sonny Leon, who's riding at a high clip. I've always liked this 5 Bell Tempo for some reason. I saw a race a few starts ago where she was much better than the race would have appeared. It might be that race from 4 back when she was up against Holly Peach and them. I think she ran a better race than was indicated that day. So I've had my eye on her. Again, an $8,000 race where it's not necessarily truly an $8,000 claiming race. But once you get past Gratz Row on the outside this entry, then you're just kind of forecasting improvement or something, some pace scenario that might work out for you, because if you can find it, I can't find it. So.
No, I hear you. I had the entry on top too, the way I saw it.
Yeah, I like the entry in there, but I think that maybe that Bell Tempo's going to run I just have a feeling she's going to run a big one.
I had that one in the mix also. The one that interesting in here to me was Little Matilda too, with the Tommy.
Yeah, that's that barn again. Yeah, she ran in the other then, ran a huge second 2 starts ago. Last time out, she was coupled. Her entry mate actually won that race, Tournament Sucre. So she really didn't, they were happy after the race, even though Little Matilda didn't fire. But no question Little Matilda could fire. And I have been Little Matilda fan since she came to Mahoning Valley last year. She likes Mahoning Valley Racecourse. You can tell by the way she runs. She really likes the surface, and that makes a difference out here. If you like the surface of Mahoning Valley, you got a big edge.
If you gotten through those legs, you still have a couple more to go out at Mahoning. And the 7th race is a state-bred, non-winners of 2 other than allowance event, 3/4 of a mile of distance. What did you think in the 7th?
Well, one of the great things about Ohio racing and Ohio bred racing is they have 2 different kinds of Ohio breds. They have what's called registered, and they have what's called accredited. This is a registered Ohio bred race. Now, accredited races are the races where the stallion and the mare are from Ohio.
Okay.
Registered, the stallion, you can get a Kentucky stallion. The stallion can come from anywhere. But you can have a huge advantage handicapping-wise if you know the difference between what's accredited and what's registered, because some of these races are accredited races, and they're typically much easier than the registered races, strictly because of the Kentucky Stallions. The out-of-state stallions are typically a little tougher. So, I mean, you got like K for Kathy. You know, I don't know if she's accredited or not. She's probably overmatched this spot. But I know, like, for 4 Fricka, I know she's accredited, and she's ran accredited. The 5 Tap the Town accredited, ran accredited. The 7 Milwaukee Cat accredited, ran accredited. So, you know, they're probably going to be overbet because you can't tell the difference on your form whether it's registered or accredited. So you go, and then you got the 2 Penny Shots, who is a real nice filly, and those people do well off a layoff. If there was a horse that I would single that's going to be overbet, I'm not a big fan of chalk, but Penny Shots to me just looks dominant on paper in this race. The ones that look good on form compared to her are accredited horses who've been facing accredited company, like Fricka and Milwaukee Cat and Tap the Town. In fact, I think maybe her greatest danger might be the 6 Biscayne Bay or the 8 Khaki, who are registered but not nearly as accomplished as Penny Shots. Gorham had a layoff horse in here on Saturday that went off at even money and failed. So he's probably due to have a layoff horse run pretty well at even money because his layoff numbers are so strong.
All right, and hopefully everybody gets through all of those and gets to the ultimate leg in here. Race number 8, a calendar condition, lower level claimer, 5.5 furlongs. How do you wrap up the sequence?
Oh, what a puzzle this race is. Seriously, puzzling race. I'll give you a few contenders in here and the reasons why I like or dislike. The one Immaculate Heart, love Immaculate Heart. I talked about Tony Atala, solid trainer with a small barn. I talked about Fernando Salazar Becerra. Undervalued jockey at the window. Perfect combination here. Second off a layoff. Those races in Cleveland last summer, much tougher than what she faces typically at Mahoning Valley. She's real live. The one horse is real live. The 2 Dream on Julie, those races in Cleveland last summer, much tougher than anything in this race. The problem I have is the jockey, you know, I'm not saying he can't, you know, he's 0-4. The trainer's 1-4. The layoff numbers are the first time with trainer, 0-4, layoff number 0-4. You know, so you're going to have to overcome a lot of 0-4s. I like the horse, though. I mean, she ran against much tougher competition in Cleveland last summer. So I might have to throw something in there just because, but I don't know if the value will be there or not. Then you talk about Julie from Jersey. How about her? She won last time out. And she went from 0 for 26 at Mahoning Valley to 1 for 27. No way I could pick her on top. I did, but there's David Hall there, the jockey who rode her last time. Again, a jockey that offers value. When you get outside to Sundress, this horse runs a huge second and a starter last time out to Templement, and they put her right back in for 4. I don't think that's exactly the most positive sign. I mean, I don't like that at all. In fact, when they claimed her and they ran her in a starter, finished second, I was expecting a jump like to 8, 10, or back in a starter, or some sort of allowance condition if she has any left. I'm not sure about her back victories, but instead they go right to the bottom. They basically say, please claim her back. We'd like to get the purse, but, you know, take her back, which is not a positive situation. So the 9, here we go. Elliott Sullivan, Sonny Leon, high percentage connections, have to use the 9. The 9's probably the most likely surefire win candidate on there, but I really do like the 1, Immaculate Heart, and I think Dream on Julie is interesting, even though you'll have to crack a lot of goose eggs to get her home.
All right, I like it. There's the sequence. We've been talking to Matt Hook, the announcer and handicapper out at Mahoning. Matt, really appreciate the thoughts, and good luck on Monday for everybody out at Mahoning.
Hey, I appreciate it, Seth. Thanks for having me on. Call me anytime.
We will. Matt Hook from Mahoning Valley. Once again, that was Matt Hook, the announcer and handicapper at Mahoning Valley. A big carryover into their Jackpot 6 on Monday afternoon with a mandatory pay. It's a 20-cent increment to get in, so you can put together a nice little affordable ticket and have some fun, perhaps. Matt with some clever ideas on the afternoon, and he's a guy, obviously, who's there looking at these horses for the most part each and every afternoon as he calls the races at Mahoning. So maybe use some of his thoughts into your play on Monday afternoon. Once again, we taped that Sunday evening, so that was pre-scratches. Do check your scratches and changes going into the card on Monday afternoon to double-check horses that are in and out. All right, Mahoning Valley is on our schedule on Capital OTB on Monday afternoon, along with Parks, Delta Down, Saratoga Harness. We'll kick things off at noon on Monday afternoon. Turf Paradise a little bit later on. Yonkers, Pompano, Western Fair. Lots of great action coming up on Monday. But again, you will definitely want to jump into that Mahoning jackpot pool with the mandatory payout and $300,000 plus waiting to be added to by the bettors on Monday. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I'm Seth Merrill. This has been the Daily Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com. And again, if you're not already a member, check out the website for details and information, CapitalOTB.com. Again, I'm Seth Merrill. As always, thanks for tuning in. Good luck.